So, Tom, can you introduce yourself and explain a bit more about your role at Power Saving Solutions?
Yeah, certainly. Tom Cummins, currently the Chief Operation Officer here at PSS. My role involves essentially three different departments. I have the manufacturing and full production plant sitting under the manufacturing wing. R&D development sits under my additional wing. And the third factor that would sit under would be our field service and service engineering, which we deliver to our customers throughout the UK and Ireland.
So, how does your role connect to the work you do in research and development and operations?
Our research and development is critical for the operations to perform. Essentially, what we're looking at is what we currently have in base. We then look at product improvement. We're always looking to upskill, and we're looking then to what the next development of our units are going to be. From that, we produce our field service matrix, and within that, there is service bulletins that will go to our engineers for their training, the additional training for our equipment and our remote systems. So R&D will be the first stage of our development. We will then produce and perform our engineering specifications and literature. We also have a strong hand in putting in our training programs, which will then be delivered to the operational production line. So our production line and our standard operating procedures that we have as our build process and our processes from start of concept to end of delivery is delivered from R&D, which then feeds into our service engineers that complete the journey for our customers out in the field.
So, as the Chief Operating Officer, what's your kind of vision for the growth of Power Saving Solutions and how does that connect to your product offering?
It's an interesting piece. As the operations officer, primarily I'm tasked with our day-to-day functions. And as a day-to-day function, which is the steady running of our operation, with R&D sitting in underneath it, it gives me the ability to look at what our next future products are going to be and the marketplaces that we're going to serve. From that then we can transport the future development of our products, put it into real time, test, prove, develop from concept, to be able to roll out what the next stage for us, which is larger battery power technology that we will be going through.
So, what are some of the exciting new developments within battery energy storage?
Ultimately, it's down to the battery itself. The configuration of battery that's there at the moment are predominantly what we use as lithium-ion cells. The next stage for us, what we're researching at the moment, and we're trying to develop steady state. So we're looking at steady state cells, which is going to be a game changer, which will deliver higher efficiency. Pound per kilowatt hour of usage is going to be far greater on payback. It'll reduce weight. It will reduce what people have at this moment of time, which is a fear of fire. Since the establishment of the business in 2013, we've had no fires whatsoever, and don't want any, which is really important for us. But what we're looking at is the next stage of future battery, and we're looking at to drive the efficiency. We're looking at the faster recharge time. We're looking at the payback to be greater. We're looking at reducing the size and weight, but yet still have a higher output, and then to be able to deliver that back to a customer in a modular configuration as what we currently build at the moment too.
Okay. It's been nearly a year since the launch of the 150 units. What is it about them that kind of makes them unique, and what specific industries are adopting the technology?
Wow, it's almost a year. I do have to pinch myself when somebody says that to me at this stage. It's been a really interesting time. That unit was developed primarily to fit a gap that was in the marketplace. So we looked at our traditional product offering, which ultimately brought us to a 90 kilowatt hour unit. And when I looked at the market and what the market was calling for as a modular solution, predominantly they were anything from 300 kilowatt hour up to 1 megawatt. So the marketplace and the research that we performed came back to us that there was a calling for a unit that was in the middle ground. We built a unit in the middle ground. We built a 150 kilowatt usable piece of equipment, and then we modulated it. And we modulated it in a fashion that we can parallel up to 8 units, so we can still achieve over 1 megawatt of power, but it's in bite-sized chunks. Each configuration is under 4 tons in weight. It's transportable. It's easily usable, and it has the configuration which allows the end user as a customer to build the size of system that they want. They're not stuck with a piece of kit that is oversized. They're not stuck with a piece of kit that is undersized. They can put together pieces of kit that is going to serve their needs and what their industry needs are. What the transformation for that unit was, well, one, we knew that there was a gap in the market. Two, we knew that there was a call for it within the market. Then we produced it. We tested it, and we tested it, and then we tested it again, and we continue to test today. And we're looking at continuous improvement for the next phase of the 150 units when we look at it. So it has been a really exciting time. It has broadened our knowledge base of what we wanted to do, particularly in the modulation of equipment. It has also given us unique insight and market research. And I can see from the market research that we've done that some of our competitors are starting to produce 150 units now. So the gap in the market was a gap in the market, and we fitted in there fantastically well.
Talk to me a bit about customer journey. How do you support a customer from that kind of first inquiry stage all the way through to like them purchasing and then the aftercare?
Yeah, it's what we use here within PSS is Salesforce, and we don't only use it as a CRM tool. We also use it as a build configuration tool as well. The customer journey will start open with our business development or account management, or potentially just an inquiry that will come through as a natural piece of sale. From that, we will then get in a close control with the customer to really understand, what do you want to do with this piece of kit? We can make what you want. We are tailor-made, but the more information that you can give us, the better the product is going to be for you. So ultimately, we get as close to the customer as we can. We look at a configuration. From that, we will build a BOM, and the BOM will be placed onto Salesforce, which is unique for that customer. The BOM is released. It'll pass through warehouse. The warehouse will produce a kit, a BOM kit, unique for that customer. It will get allocated to a build bay. Within the build bay, then labour will be allocated to it. We have a serial barcode system that we will record every component that goes onto that machine. So we know all of the components that will be utilised. We know the bay that it has been built on. We know the labour that has been assigned to it. And we also utilise our buddy system within our build configuration. That is, when somebody has finished a task that they have, which is a build stage, their buddy will then come in and cross-check to ensure that what has been done is correct, no gaps are missed. And likewise, on the opposite side, when the buddy has finished their task, their mate will come in and will cross-check and sign off. Each stage of our build process is signed off by the assembler and technicians that have completed that task. It is then ultimately signed off by our supervisors. It'll go through a test process, which is an independent test team separate from our build team, who will test the units and certify the units for completion. We'll then put on a individual wrap or livery of the customer's choice, or we could quite make a white label piece of equipment for somebody within the marketplace for their own needs. From that, ultimately the unit is delivered to site. We will then send an engineer to site and we will commission set up. We'll also do toolbox talks for the customer to bring them to full education speed of best way to operate. this is the best way to get the most out of this piece of kit and return back your savings. It'll maximize your savings for you. Subject to that, we then run training centres here. So the training centre, we will offer to our customers to come in. Training is done free in-house. We have different stage levels of training, so we go everything from a sales training, basic engineering training, maintenance training, commissioning, fault finding, etc. So it depending on the training that people want, we have a training basis there to deliver the level of training.
Have you always had that, or have you had kind of feedback from customers that then makes you develop and evolve the service?
Yeah, we've always had it. However, it has become more mainstream now, where more kit goes out on the ground, greater investment is being put in by customers to their assets that they have purchased. And subsequently, they want further training. Most of the training that we find that when people come into us is an education on lithium batteries. Can you tell us what happens here? How does it work? Why does it work? How do you control it? And what's the best way to get the most out of it? Are they safe? That's the one question I get asked all the time. Are they safe? Yes. Yes, they are safe. Yes. Once they're controlled. If you control your battery and you control it well, yes, it is safe. Subsequent to all of that, the healthcare that we give is we do customer value agreements for any customer that's out there, 5-year or 10-year packages, and we will service, we will maintain, we will remote monitor, and we'll give all the advice over then as part of that package for the customer all the way to end of life. So your journey will start with a PO coming through and your BOM being built on Salesforce and come to end of life. The end of life process is brought all the way in at a 10 or 20-year stage, whatever the stage is on the piece of equipment that has been built. So we take people on that journey all the way through with us.
So what would you say makes the added value of the battery storage solution? What makes that stand out compared to others kind of competitors in the market?
The biggest value that we add is, one, we notify people of what you purchase is what you get. And what I mean by that is usable rating. So if we call a product, for example, a 90 kilowatt hour battery, it is a 90 kilowatt usable battery you will get. However, there will be more battery power within the unit, so the rating will be slightly higher. But we talk about rating and we give people a usable rating, which very few people in the marketplace will do so. Our service availability. So our service teams are all the way from Scotland all the way down to the south of England, and we cover Ireland as well. So we have a 24/7 service availability. We have on-call engineers. We have response times. We have the investment that has been put into our digital engineers, who are on our digital desk from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday to Friday, and they are digitally monitoring all assets that are in the field. Upwards of circa 1,000 assets are on our platforms at this moment in time. We have a unique build system where everything that we put through here is in a modulated form. It is a modulated form which helps our process of build, but more importantly, it gives the customer back the feasibility of ease of maintenance. So for your lifetime of your product, which could be in excess of 10 years, that product will be the easiest product that you have worked on and that you have looked after. You look after it, it will look after you. And they're the standout features that I would say. Our knowledge within the business, 13 years of business that we have at the moment. And if you look at the senior leadership team here, we have in excess of over 60 years experience within the electrical industry or power industry that is here, and that feeds down through. And just to close off on that point, I think we've been extraordinarily fortunate, particularly in the last 12 months, through our hiring process. And with our hiring process, we have brought very highly skilled members to the team. That knowledge and input has fed through everybody else. And that coupled with our own in-house development team, that we develop our technicians along the line, as well as everybody else that we have here. And we have the affordability that we can do so and educate and put back in to our staff. It speaks for itself. It speaks for our retention model that we have. It speaks why one thing that would stand out for me is that when we look every day that we come to work, if somebody comes in and works for us, if they leave here at whatever stage of their career, but they leave with more knowledge, they leave a better person, well, that has been a resounding success for me. So if I see, and I have people that will work for us, we'll give our education, we'll teach our processes, we'll teach lithium batteries, we'll do all of the necessary and the good piece. From a personal side, if I have somebody that comes through and they leave in the future, but they leave a better person, they leave with a greater skill set, they leave with more knowledge, and that will give them the ability to earn, etc. along those lines there. That's a resounding success with this business.
In terms of the hiring process, how do you make sure you're getting that kind of top talent? Is it do you just pay more than the people? Is it a cultural thing that you think attracts those people to you? Or?
We're fortunate in the industry at the moment where lithium batteries are a very highly spoke of piece of equipment. BESS in itself, as battery storage energy, is a highly marketable commodity. There are a few manufacturers within the UK, and we're in where we are at the moment in Maidenvale. We have a capture area, so we have a very green technical product. We're in an industry that's growing and growing at an alarming rate, and we have a good fit of people that actually want to get in to that market space, and they want to work for people that are in that piece. Couple that with Warner culture, yes, absolutely. Our education program that we will put through, we will invest in people to come in as well. And then the leadership that we have with the years of experience that can be passed through. I think our hiring process is testament that stands for itself, and we can attract very highly qualified personnel and bring them on our journey then as well.
Fantastic. Yeah. In terms of the Hussh Pod, in kind of technical terms, what would you say makes that unique to the market?
Falling back a little bit on what I've said earlier, yes, it is a modular system. It's a workable system. It's easy to maintain. It's not, it has more complicated configuration that we have wrote our own coding in order to operate the units. But what we've done on the back sense of that is we've tried to make the unit as user friendly as we possibly can. So ultimately, we want people to have the availability to plug in their power source and then plug in their source of load that they want to use on the unit. And quite simply, push the green button. That's what we want people to do. In the back of all of that, our control systems of where we manage our temperatures, the control systems of how we manage our smart ramping for charging and our smart ramping or derating for that matter as well for both charge and for discharge. We have protected the units so that we can maximize the life. We can maximize the life cycles. We can give guarantees that we are going to get to end of life at a 10-year cycle or thereabouts. We give the extended warranties to that because we're proud of the technology that we put in that will protect that machine and give the usability back to the customer. That coupled with the knowledge that we have put in and our expertise on the ground, to me stands alone the Hussh Pod apart from what's out there in this marketplace.
Brilliant. What kind of feedback do you get from customers regarding the service side of power saving solutions?
Yeah, the general feedback from people is that the phones response is excellent. Our response from our engineers is excellent. Our time on site and given education, toolbox talks, and just general day-to-day care with customers on site is excellent. We can see on a regular basis, particularly with phone calls that come in, that the engineers become a very personal piece and intricate piece for our customers. Customers will come to us and they will call our engineers by name. They won't call them a power saving solutions engineer or a PSS engineer. They will come in and they'll actually call us, and they will contact us and say, oh, we had, we had an engineer had called in on our site, and they'll call them by name, tell us how good that they've done a job, and commend them for what they're doing. Our engineers will come back and say to us, we have customers that will ring us up and thank us for the service that we've done, etc. And 9 times out of 10, we're actually solving other issues for people. It's not we're there. We might be there commissioning a Hussh Pod. We'll see something with a generator setup, or a cable has been delivered as, a generator cable is a wrong size cable, or, we'll give the advice. We'll work with the guys. We'll work with the generator companies in setting up the units as a hybrid system so that we maximise and have a happy customer at the end of it. Yes, and they become quite very well known for it. And when we have customers coming back to us and calling them by individual names and speaking to us as a personal term, that to me is a very strong accolade as what customers think of our engineers.
Absolutely. What kind of testing is involved before a Hussh Pod is delivered to a customer's site?
We do a number of different stage testing. So the first thing that we will do is that when we get the unit powered up, we will bring the batteries to full balance. We bring the batteries to full balance, equalise our system. Before we ever power the unit up, we will do a most important step, which is our visual check. And what we're looking for there is we're looking visually to see that everything is where it should be. We're looking for all torque marks that have been correctly torqued. Everything is aligned. We're looking to making sure that there is nothing in the unit that shouldn't be in the unit. So our visual check is the most important part that actually comes out of it. From there, we'll do full dead testing. We'll do insulation testing. We will test our cabling, and we will do a full electrical health check. Subsequent to that, then we will then power the unit up, and we will do a full live testing. Once we have a full live testing done and our equalization cycle completed, we then do discharge testing on the unit. So we do a 5-step discharge test, which generally is run depending on the size of the unit, but we do 20%, 40%, 50, 60%, 80% and 100% tests on the units. Perform the health, certify it, record it, and we give it to our customers as part of their test sheet so that they can see when the test was done, who completed it. It's signed and dated by both the tester and the supervisor that has witnessed it as well.
What's the process look like if a technical inquiry arises?
It has a number of ways that it can come into the business. So if it comes in through an email, it'll come in on the technical email inbox. Our digital engineers have full access to that, as well as our service manager and our manager that looks after the production centre there as well. That'll be dealt with on that matter. We will look at the inquiry, see what it is, give a phone call back to the customer. We'll then raise a case on Salesforce, appoint it to an engineer, schedule a visit if needs be. If it's an emergency call out, we'll take it immediately, get an engineer scrambled and deploy the engineer over to the customer. Again, raise the case. They'll attend site with the customer. 8 to 4, Monday to Friday, it's dealt with the digital desk. From 4 p.m. onwards, it goes through our call centre. The call centre then has a number of questions or sequences that they will ask. The questions that they're asking is building the case. So they're trying to gather as much information from the customer. They will pass that to the on-call engineer. Invariably then we'll have a look online at our portal, and we'll marry up with the information that has been given from what has been received on the initial call. Look at the performance of the unit online and see can they diagnose what it is. Generally within 15 minutes or possibly 30 minutes at an outside, the engineer that's after assessing the case will ring the customer back. We'll have some interaction, feedback, and from there a plan of action will be determined. Now the plan of action could well be everything is fine, can you get an engineer out tomorrow, or your generator has run out of fuel, you need to get fuel, or whatever the part is. But a plan of action will be put in. If an immediate plan needs to be put in, we then will deploy a on-call engineer.
Okay. Last question then. Technically speaking, what would you say is the biggest misconception within kind of battery energy storage?
Misconception. If we go back to what I just related to a little bit earlier on, we rate everything on our rating plate as usable power. So if I called a unit a 4590, it's a 45 kVA inverters with 90 kilowatt hours of usable battery. In the industry that's out there at the moment, and by the vast majority of other producers, a 4590 is 45 kVA inverters, correct? But 90 will be the amount of storage that is within a unit. And the usable element of that is probably something more like a 72 kilowatt hour. So the misconception is that what you purchase may not necessarily be the full piece of what you get. What we do is we give our nameplate as a usable element. Our rating plate then will tell us that the battery energy stored in a 90 kilowatt hour unit is more 102 kilowatt hour or something in that range. But what we rate our units are is that we rate the full usable intent. We don't rate it for what the storage element is. We do certify it and we do name it as the storage element. It's important that the storage element is there for our forest services want to know how much storage potential is in this unit. For emergency purposes, etc., along those lines. So, to comply with regulations and standards, yes, we will tell what the storage element is, but our rating and the way that we market and what we give as a saleable piece. So as a customer, if you come to me and you want to purchase a 90 kilowatt hour unit, you will get a 90 kilowatt hour unit. If you look at any of the other products that's in marketplace at the moment, it will be 90 kilowatt hour, but the usable element will be significantly less than that.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed for
Thank you.
the questions.